Hey, Dave Butler here, coming to you live from post-op day 1 after cheilectomy surgery, bilateral cheilectomy surgery. And I'm just here hanging out in my living room, and I thought that I would do this video to help others who are thinking about having this surgery to know what to expect post-op day 1. So yesterday I had my surgery, and let me just show you here. Here are my fun feet that have been wrapped up, and it makes it really interesting when you do both at the same time. So we'll get into that a little bit. But yesterday I went in for surgery about 2 o'clock. It was about a 2-hour surgery, so I got done at 4, and then I was in recovery for about an hour and a half, and then hobbled my way to the car, and we came home. So I wanted to talk about a couple of the fears that I had with this cheilectomy surgery. Obviously, I had both feet done, and having both feet done makes it a little bit of a challenge because I can't use crutches. And I was actually pretty worried about, how am I going to get out of the surgical center? How am I going to get into my house? Am I going to be able to walk around and do what I need to do? And it's pleasantly surprised. Maybe it was because my feet were really numb, but I was able to hobble to the car, and I was able to hobble in the house. And really, I haven't had any issues walking to the bathroom or walking to get a drink and things like that. So I'm much more mobile than I thought I was going to be. With that mobility, I do have to wear a really fancy, fashionable post-op shoe. So it has nice straps so that you can get in pretty easily. They're very fashionable. I'll probably start wearing these after I'm done with my rehab. So I put those on and I walked out of the surgical center, and yeah, it was great. Walking is kind of a generous way of putting that. I didn't necessarily walk. I hobbled, walking basically on my heels. So that was one of my big fears, was I going to be able to walk? So most people, when they have this done, get one foot done at a time. And with that, you would be on crutches, which would make it a lot easier. But it's interesting because nothing was done to the bottom of my foot. I can weight bear on my foot just fine. It's bending and rolling over my toes that I don't want to do. So that was one of my fears. My other fear, it was just anesthesia. I've only done it one other time, and kind of freaks me out to be put out. But it was funny. The anesthesiologist told me that I would be out in 30 seconds, and so I started timing him on that, and I think I only got 10 seconds in and I was out. So coming out of anesthesia was fine, and just kind of groggy the rest of that day. But yeah, those are my main fears. And then how was I going to be able to function? So one thing that I have here is I have my laptop, because I still have a lot that I can do while I'm hanging out, and it keeps me not entertained necessarily. It keeps me busy and keeps my mind occupied. So that's one thing that I would suggest, is doing something that keeps you still active mentally, and also getting up and moving around. One thing that a lot of people won't tell you is, well, maybe they do tell you this, but anesthesia kind of messes with your bowels, and sitting all day also messes with your bowels. So if you can get up and move around and get things moving, that's helpful, but don't go too aggressive. The biggest concern with this surgery is swelling and popping the stitches after this surgery. So we don't want to do that. So I'm trying not to be too active enough to keep my body healthy and keep things moving, but not so active that I'm increasing swelling and risking popping those stitches. So the post-op dressings from this surgery are pretty bulky, and they do that on purpose because they want to protect where the incision is. The incision is right here, and they want to protect that and cushion all of this area. So this is pretty bulky, and this will be on for about a week until I go to my post-op visit. And I think my wife calls these my troll toes or something like that. But that's what the dressing is like. you want to check. One thing that I was checking in the middle of the night last night was my capillary refill, which means you push down on your toenail and you should see it go white. Let's see if I can get a better view of that. You should see it go white and then it should come back pink. So checking that to make sure that the post-op dressing isn't too tight, and wiggling my toes occasionally. It does hurt to wiggle my big toes, but I can separate my little toes and I can wiggle my big toes a little bit. I don't want to do that too much because things are still healing, but moving my ankles, doing some ankle pumps, and making sure that blood flows and I'm not stiffening up. So just a couple of tips with that. Your feet are in these big bulky dressings, but that doesn't mean you can't move, especially your ankles. We don't want the ankles getting tight. So that's what I've been doing. One of my favorite pieces of equipment is actually this bolster, this triangle bolster. And this bolster helps me to elevate my feet while I'm hanging out and doing computer work and things like that. So if you don't have a bolster like this, I stole this from my clinic. If you don't have a bolster like this, you could probably use some pillows that are stacked up or something like that. Just something to bring your feet up so that elevating your feet can have gravity help bring the swelling down to you instead of being in a what we call dependent position where your feet are down. When your feet are down, gravity's pulling that swelling down to the feet, and we don't want that. So controlling swelling, probably the number one concern at this point. So not doing too much, elevating. I did put some ice packs yesterday. I can't feel them if I put them on my feet, so I would put them behind my knees here and down at the ankle so that I can hopefully cool the blood flow going down. So that brings me to another point as far as pain medication goes. Pain medication was something that I was also a little concerned about. My history with opioids like Percocet and stuff like that, I just don't like them. And I was concerned that I was going to need to rely on those. I don't like them because of what it does to my system, and I don't like the way I feel on them. So all yesterday up until 11 o'clock this morning, my feet were pretty numb still. So they were gradually waking up, and I feel some pain in my toes, but actually right now, as of this time right now, I am off of pain medication. I'm not even taking ibuprofen or Tylenol, and I'm doing fine. So I'm not on opioids. I don't know if that will be the same case for you, but that's where I am as far as pain medication goes. So I'll probably take some tonight before I go to bed, but right now it seems like it's going pretty well. The anesthesia that he put in was great. He actually put Marcaine in after the surgery and lidocaine in before. He said he found that helps with pain control really well. I'm going to include some pictures. I'll show some pictures here of what the surgery was like. I asked him if he could get pictures of the bone spurs, and he was not. He said either he was kind of busy during that part or they were just in crumbles, and so we wouldn't have been able to see anything anyway. But these two pictures do show what the incision is like and where the incision is and things like that. He did say my toes were worse than he thought from the x-ray. So I had bone spurs that were detached that he was able to take out, but he also found both joints were lacking about 50% of the cartilage. And so with that, he goes in and he drills holes into where the cartilage should be so it bleeds, and then we get a fibrocartilage that hopefully will take the place of where the cartilage was and buy me some time. My plan with this is to buy at least 15 years, so hopefully there's a good joint replacement for these joints by that point. So overall, recovery's doing well. I'm just kind of hanging out here, and I haven't actually watched TV yet, but I'm probably going to watch TV. It's the night of the day after surgery, and things are going well. The plan for the next week is pretty much the same, trying to stay off my feet, control swelling, make sure that I'm not overdoing it. And then I see the surgeon a week from today, and hopefully we'll get the dressings off and maybe get those stitches out. But if anyone's looking for a good podiatrist surgeon that they would trust with a cheilectomy, Dr. Wade Christiansen here in Lehigh is fantastic, and I've been really impressed with him. So that's day one. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it didn't scare you away. I've actually been pleasantly surprised that I haven't had as much pain as I thought I was going to, and I'm more functional than I thought I would be. So that's day one. Stay tuned for I probably won't do day 2, day 3, day 4, but I'll do, as I continue to recover and continue to get more active, I'm going to do more videos. You can also look at, we have 3 parts to this series before this that talk about preparation and things like that, as well as a treatment video on Hallux Rigidus where I tried dry needling for Hallux Rigidus before deciding to have surgery. So yeah, hopefully you learned something. I'm going to get back to being comfy and maybe get some work done, or maybe watch some TV, because I can't do a whole lot of anything else. So hopefully I don't get driven nuts by that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.